Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the GameCast NewsCast. I am Snowy, otherwise known as Fracula, Count Fracula. I can't even get my own name right. And Max isn't here this week because he's a little bitch who can't work out when to not work. And joining me in his place is one of our little newcomers here, Challenger Delta, whose actual name I do not know.
It's Dalton Dansock. I'm actually recording from my car.
Yes. That's why he sounds a little bit odd. I will try my best with this audio, but I promise nothing. So, Dalton, there we go. Cool. Right, let's start with the first little section. What have you been playing this week?
Well, I've been playing a lot of PUBG lately. I've been figuring I should dust off Outlast for a Let's Play video on the channel.
Cool. Now, if people who've seen this channel, or been with this channel for a while, know full well my opinions on PUBG, that it is the most boring game in the world. I actually want to know, what do you enjoy about PUBG then? What brings you to it?
I don't know. I really thought it was extremely boring to begin with until I understood the concept of really getting to the center of the map. Obviously, once you get closer to the center, it gets a little more exciting. It's a lot more fun to play with friends, that's for sure. But once you actually get good at it and actually start to kill other players and get higher into the leaderboard, you start to get a little more excited. Get into the top 10, your heart really starts to race. At least that's what I find for me anyways. Quite thrilling, and I quite enjoy that.
Okay, fair enough. I can see where that's coming from. What have I been playing this week? Somewhere between fuck and all. Yeah, very literally. I've just been playing more of A Hat in Time because I want to finish that. That is a very lovely game. It's adorable. It's a really nice little game. Yeah, I really haven't been playing a lot this week. I have had no time because I'm recording a lot of videos at the moment. Yay! Okay, so that's it. That's that section done because yeah, we've not had a lot of games to be talking about. But oh well, let's move on to the first news story of the show. So, I'm going to laugh in EA's face, except I'm not quite because it's a little rumour. This thing isn't confirmed to be true yet. But we will remember that EA have the exclusive license to the Star Wars video games. They acquired it in 2013. And I'd say they have abused that right, those rights. Would you agree? Do you think?
Most of abuse is a light term for that. I mean, Battlefront, as far as it plays all right. But their go about it for unlocking characters and really add-ons for each class is just, it's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Yes, I quite agree. They've gone above and beyond in terms of shitty gaming business practices. And it seems that Disney may well be agreeing, because this is a rumour that has popped up with some pretty apparently reliable sources that Lucasfilm/Disney are quite upset with EA. Some would say rightly so. And they... Sorry, go on.
Absolutely, I'm just agreeing with you there.
Yeah. And they are planning on taking the license for the Star Wars games off of EA. So, before I go on to the rumours of where it's going to, what are your thoughts on Disney's rumoured plan?
Well, honestly, I think it'd be better off than someone else's. The only thing I'm really gonna miss about about EA not having the Star Wars license is the fact that they got DICE to make the game, and you can't deny that the game absolutely looks phenomenal with DICE. And
yes,
the way they did it for play, wow! I remember playing the first Star Wars Battlefront, like that, the one that DICE made, of course. I was disappointed that there was no campaign and lackluster features and all this other crap that was just missing out of the game. But I do remember playing online and just being absolutely amazed at how everything looked, how smoothly it actually played. And, well, I did have a lot of fun with it, but there's just too much missing from the game to justify it.
Yes, I agree. I definitely agree that one of the things that DICE got on point with both the games was both the aesthetic and the sound design. Like, it really, audio-visual wise, it was very, very good at being Star Wars. It's just a shame that they messed up with basically everything else, but then that was EA, not DICE, doing that. Because, you know, at the time of the first game coming out, this was the sort of period where everyone was saying, single player is dead, even though it quite clearly wasn't. So that's why there was no campaign in that. And then they tried to make amends for it with the second one, but people weren't really a fan of the campaign, and the business practices that were surrounding the rest of the game kinda eclipsed the campaign, really. So you'd have to wonder, like, if they'd made another game, it'd have had to be an apology for that game as well. So you got to wonder how much they got to put into the third one to make up for it if they keep the license.
They're going to have to be at least a 12-hour campaign, I'd say.
Well, probably even more than that. Just give it away, or give away the other games with it, just to make up for this utter bullshit. So yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all.
You know what publisher I would love to see get the Star Wars?
Oh, go on then. What publisher would you like?
Bethesda.
Ooh, okay, that's interesting. See, I
They've
don't know.
They've always been strong and single player. I think they would just do awesome with Star Wars. I mean, look at the throwback they did with Doom. That game is absolutely amazing.
A game that I still can't believe they managed to get running on the Switch. How?
Yes.
How did they do that? I mean, it's a bit...
I don't know, but it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's a bit... Apparently, it's got a couple of performance issues, and there's still, like, an extra download on top of the... Like, if you buy the cartridge, you still have to download quite a lot. Because, you know...
Oh, wow.
Because the cartridges are limited to 32 gigabytes, and Doom is bigger than that.
Doom is like 60-something, I think.
I can check, actually, if I go to my Steam library, because I don't have it installed. Doom is, 68 gigabytes. Fucking hell. So it's very easy to fill up a Switch nearly with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
I can't wait to actually start to play for that one as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I can see why you'd actually think Bethesda would be good, because they recently at least pulled it out the bag with a lot of single player games, and a lot of people really like Wolfenstein 2. Maybe not as much as they liked the Wolfenstein The New Order, but still getting a lot of fans from that, so I definitely see where you're coming from. This is not one of the companies in the rumour, though. Pardon?
If you ever get the chance, you should check out the new Prey.
I keep meaning to. Max has been raving about it all year since he played it. And yeah, it's one of those games, it's definitely on my list, but I've just not got round to it yet. Even though I think it is now... Well, at the moment, it is 50% off until the 19th of February. Huh.
I'd recommend it. It's, well...
To be honest, yeah, for 15 quid, I'm probably going to pick that up. That's quite good. I've just been paid as well, so...
Yeah, it's really good. It's a very beautiful game. I will not deny that I found it to be difficult, but that could also be my playstyle. I'm a little more simple-minded when it comes to the video games, and this does have a lot of combinations and customizations and things to watch out for.
Yeah, well, that's something I need to look at. But yes, Bethesda have been doing very well, aside from their whole Creation Club debacle, so I can see why you'd think that they want to be on it. However, Bethesda are not on Disney's rumoured, I'm going to keep saying rumoured list of publishers. Their rumoured list of publishers are Activision and Ubisoft.
Ooh.
Yeah. To be honest, if they sent it to Activision, I'd be more worried about it than I would be if it stayed with EA.
Yeah. I think Ubisoft would make a bit of a better attempt, but at the same time, you're still looking at microtransaction-focused companies.
They're looking to very sort of companies that operate in very similar manners to EA. That like Activision is arguably as bad as EA, and Ubisoft probably aren't as bad, but they're still not great. I don't class Ubisoft as a good game company anymore.
They're kind of like a big recycle bin in my mind.
Oh yeah, like they've made a few good games recently, but a lot of it is just cookie cutter crap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Watch Dogs 2, though, that was a good game. I played a lot of that. I really enjoyed that.
I didn't really care for the first one too much, so the second one was kind of a no-brainer not to get.
To be honest, I haven't played the first game because nothing about it interested me. I recommend you get the second one and play it because it improves everything and it actually has some character to it.
Oh, maybe I'll put it on my to-do list.
Yeah, the characters in it are just so much better than Broody McBrooderson with his stupid dead niece. The worst revenge plot idea in the world.
Yeah, it would have made a little more sense if they used, like, maybe a daughter or a wife.
Well, it would have made more sense if if the niece were in the game for more than... I think you can count, it's less than a second. I think you can count the frames that this niece is actually in the game, and it's like 13 frames.
Yeah, it was not very long, to say the least.
No. So, I think if we'd have got to know the niece a bit better, it'd be like, oh, isn't she lovely? And then she died. Might have been a bit of a better plot, but no. Just left with Mr. Brood going to commit crimes, and his sister, the child's mother, being infinitely better adjusted to it.
Yeah, there are some serious story flaws.
Yeah, just a bit. So, yeah, that's kind of why I'm not keen for Ubisoft to get it, and I think we know why I'm not keen for Activision to get it. To be fair, yeah, because of the things they did with Destiny 2 and Call of Duty 4 Remastered.
Yeah, they've made some huge mistakes.
Oh yeah, and because they make the Call of Duty games, though, it doesn't matter because all the Call of Duty bros will just keep buying the games because they don't give a fuck.
Yep. This one's bigger and better than the last one. No, it's exactly the same, just a different.
Yep. Look, there's a slightly different campaign with slightly different things. Are any of these things in the multiplayer? Only a couple of them. Do they make much of a difference? No. Well, what's the fucking point then? I don't care.
I will say, though, is it Activision that's behind Call of Duty World War II? Or Activision's all the Call of Duty games,
Yes, right? Yes.
Okay. World War II wasn't that bad in terms of Call of Duty games for campaign. There was a few characters where I was just really waiting for them to blow up. There was some campaign issues once you realized that it wasn't a section that you had to clear. As soon as you got to a certain point on the map, the enemies started running away from you. Once you figured that out, it's quite simple.
That's really weird.
The espionage that game was quite interesting. I quite liked that one. I played it multiple times, actually. That was my favorite mission.
Well,
as far as multiplayer goes, Call of Duty, just stop. Either be like Battlefield or just do what you're decent at.
Fair enough. I'm not a multiplayer person myself. It's not something that I really do. Only if I'm playing with friends and only on silly games. So I did a stream on Sunday of Stick Fight the Game, which is possibly the most silly game in the world, and that's why I streamed it, because it's fun. Just ignore anything that's got the word shooter in the title when it comes to multiplayer, because it's boring to me.
I was hoping to work something out with Alex to maybe do a combined stream, sort of a challenge, him versus me on Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
Oh, that'd be good. I'd like to see that, actually. Yeah, if you can get that sorted, that'd be really good. Just you two trying to do it like a timer on the level and see who can complete it first or something. Or something even more imaginative, like I don't even know what you can do in that game, but do so many of whatever thing in whatever time limit and see who wins. There's loads of things you could do with that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I thought it would be a neat thing for the channel anyway.
Yes, co-op challenges are definitely a good idea, so keep an eye out for those, everybody, in the future. So, yes. Anyway, so you said you'd like Bethesda to publish Star Wars games.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know who I'd pick, because, I don't know, I'm less inclined to pick Bethesda than you, but that's just me. But at the same time, I don't know who else I'd pick. Mostly because I don't like...
hard stuff.
I don't really like any of the AAA publishers, that's my problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to rattle off some more in my head, but my mind is just, every neuron is going, Bethesda.
I don't know. I think maybe Frontier, the ones who made Elite Dangerous and Planet Coaster, they might be able to make a good space-themed one. They could certainly just do things with the engine for Elite Dangerous and work it out from there, because that's a pretty solid engine that you can work with there.
Oh, I just thought of an interesting idea.
Oh, go on.
If Star Wars became a real-time strategy,
how would
you feel about that?
I was thinking that, and I was like, Paradox Interactive, the ones who make Stellaris and City Skylines.
How about Ensemble Studios?
Which one's that? Sorry, remind me.
Ensemble, am I even saying that?
No, that is a word.
Halo Wars, I think they...
Oh, okay, Halo Wars. I could see
they
that.
They did an awesome making an RTS usable on a controller.
That's a thing that not many people can do. I'll give them that. Oh yeah, Halo Wars and Age of Empires. That's what they're known for.
Yeah, there we go. Ensemble. I think they would do an alright job. Star Wars?
Yeah. However, they are now defunct, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They stopped existing nearly 10 years ago.
Maybe, well, who took their place for Halo Wars?
I don't know, actually. Halo Wars.
I know Microsoft obviously owns it, but Microsoft wouldn't be a bad one to acquire the Star Wars.
343 and Creative Assembly.
There we go.
Creative Assembly. They're quite good. They do the Total War games.
Yeah, okay.
I could definitely see that.
Creative Assembly.
Yes.
I just thought Halo Wars. I knew Ensemble did the first one. That's why I said it. I totally forgot. Nah, not a thing for a long time.
Yes, but then Total War Warhammer 2 came out last year, and that got really good reviews as well, so I can definitely see that. I'd love to see more Star Wars real-time strategy now you said that. That's a really good idea. Oh, yes.
Yeah, right?
I'd play the shit out of that.
The way they did it in Halo Wars, where you got your Spartans as your heroes or your characters or whatever, well, obviously that'd be Jedi, Sith Lord, and, maybe a Han Solo, a Leia, or a Boba Fett.
Definitely.
Or a Jar Jar Binks.
No. No. That should not be a thing. No. You're listening, Star Wars people. No. Leave that thing in the gutter where it belongs.
Agreed.
Along with Battlefront 2! Ha ha ha! Got him! Ah. And on that note, let's move on to the second story. So, we're actually on the same subject, really, because we're still going to be tangentially talking about Battlefront 2, because after the conference where an EA person said that no governments were looking into taking action on loot boxes, two separate governments have said, or have at the very least said they're going to put forward legislation, and in the US, Hawaii have proposed new legislation and put bills in for voting about loot boxes.
Maybe this will finally end to loot boxes.
Maybe
it's the beginning of the.
I think I don't know. I don't know if it'll be the end of loot boxes. I think it might be the end of loot boxes as they are, because they got too greedy too quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still one of the people who's against microtransactions in $60 game in full price games, unless they've got to have very good reasoning for it, and I don't think a lot of companies do have good reasoning for it, in my opinion.
I may be a little old school in saying this, but I really miss the days where unlocking the game was in the game, such as Halo 3, how you had to do certain achievements or certain tasks in multiplayer to get that specific piece of armor, or even Halo Reach's way of doing it, you know.
Yeah, or Metal Gear Solid to get the tuxedo. You had to do very specific certain things in the game. And then in MGS5 you had to buy it.
Yeah, even if you had an in-game currency earned through playing modes, and then you paid your said in-game currency to unlock cosmetic unlocks, I think that would be
you know a game that did that recently? Dragon Ball Fighter Z! And that did it really well!
Yeah, wow. There we go!
Yeah, some companies know how to fucking do it. It's just a shame that most of them don't.
No, hopefully to catch on. That would be the best part.
Yes. So, I think to justify microtransactions in a game, for me, it'll have to be for things like server costs. Like if you're running an online game, and you've got servers to keep running. But I don't think you should have those microtransactions in from launch. That should be introduced later on down the line, when not many people are buying the game anymore, and you have to keep those servers running. Maybe. Yeah. I'm still not a fan of it. I
really don't know how I feel about microtransactions. To me, video games is supposed to be something that, well, challenges you.
Yeah, a challenge, or something that you can just sit back and play, not have to worry about, can I afford this loot box?
Exactly. I understand where the cost and need for microtransactions are in certain scenarios, but at the same time, it's a very hard subject to really discuss.
Yes, especially when publishers refuse to even talk about the budget for their games and then act impoverished, and you go, are you going to show us that you're actually impoverished and this is a thing? Or are you just going to say that you are and not prove it? You know, if it was shown that that the games without microtransactions are making huge losses nowadays because they cost so much to develop, I'd have so much more sympathy.
Yeah, I really don't know enough about the subject on how video games keep their online modes going, server maintenance and whatnot. I don't really know a lot about the costs over it to justify loot box. But I have heard of one subject that kind of piqued my interest, and I really don't know how I feel about it. So here's a topic for discussion. How would you feel about video games being cheaper, but having a subscription fee to play if they had online?
That's interesting. So So you're saying like if you bought the game and you could play the single player as much as you want, but if you wanted the online, you'd pay a subscription for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, say, for example, I'll go back to Battlefront 2, for example. Let's just say the campaign was done really well. There was no loot boxes and everything was unlockable in the game, and it was fine. Say the game were $20, maybe $30. You owned it. You didn't have to pay for any loot boxes to play the campaign. You could play offline multiplayer type modes with AI bots. But if you wanted to play online with your friends, or with other people online, maybe an added subscription of maybe $5.99 a month, something along those lines. You know, not everybody can afford that, I understand, but maybe there could be, you pay for 3 months or a year and it'll be this, just like Xbox Live service.
I could see that working, probably. It's certainly more palatable than a loot box to me. And yeah, I think that's not a bad idea.
Is if that were to happen, more games would do it. And then say you've got 12 games that you play religiously online.
Yeah, well, and then, there comes the issue of how many games can you afford to be playing online, I suppose.
So maybe services like Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, and well, you'd obviously have to work something out on the PC, could come up with something that maybe is like $10.99 or kind of like a second Xbox Live subscription that would go into it yearly to maintain server maintenance for AAA titles.
Possibly.
I don't know.
It's an idea. It's something that would definitely need a lot to work out. And
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I being that idea, I heard it from a discussion I was having with a friend a while back. And I honestly don't know what I would prefer. What would I prefer, loot boxes or that? With that system, I'm guaranteed the unlocks that I know are in the game, and then I can figure out specific ways to get the certain gear I want. Whereas loot boxes is gambling. I want a specific armor in Halo 5. I can't get it unless I get...
Unless you pay so much on loot boxes until you get it.
Yeah. And sometimes you get duplicates. You never really get the thing that you want. Or sometimes you might not unlock armor at all. It's frustrating. You just want the armor. It doesn't matter to you how many hours you have to play to get it. But say you're putting in 40 plus hours of multiplayer to try and get this armor and you don't get it. You're having crap games and you're getting frustrated. Then your friend logs in, never played the game in his life, plays 1 hour and unlocks it. Because it's random. Like, that would be just unfair.
Yeah, definitely. I know what you mean. I think it's a tough one. Because to me, as someone who doesn't really do a huge amount of online, I wouldn't mind that because I could pay less to get just a single player experience.
Yeah. As a kind of, it's an idea that could be worked on maybe for, obviously not the way I just put it, because that would ridiculous cost on multiple games, and obviously I wouldn't be paying for that, and I don't expect anybody else to. But it's certainly an idea that could be looked at for pros and cons.
Definitely,
and maybe some sort of version of that idea could be worked into place.
Definitely, it's certainly a better idea than selling loads of loot boxes to someone. But yeah,
exactly.
So
maybe less profitable for the company, but at least everybody's somewhat happy. It's kind of a middle ground idea.
Definitely. So, back to the main topic, the Hawaii legislations. Obviously, these won't affect either of us because you live in Canada and I live in the UK, but it may inspire other governments to do something about it. There's four. I think 4 bills in 2 sets have been announced. 2 of which aim to, quote, force publishers to prominently label games that contain purchasable items, as well as their probability drop rates, much like Overwatch has to do in China. Because there was a specific bit of legislation, I think, that literally any game with loot boxes has to have their drop rates visible in China. because that's how... I don't know if that law was there before, if it was introduced because China is a lot harder on gambling than the West in general.
Oh, yeah.
To be fair, China's a lot harder on most things than the West.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit. But also the second two bills would, quote, prohibit the sale of games containing electronic gambling systems that use real money to anyone under the age of 21. So that means that any game that had a loot box system in it would have to immediately be rated as mature, no matter what the content of the actual game is.
Well, I don't know about the UK, but here in Canada, I don't think I've ever come across a problem when I was under the age of 18, rather, going into my nearest game store, picking up something that was rated M and buying it. For example,
I didn't know.
I on my own when I was whatever age. When did that come out now, BioShock?
2008?
Yeah. I was definitely
2007. Sorry, Jesus. Oh man, I feel old.
Yeah, I was definitely under 18 then, and bought it no problem. Didn't even give me a second look.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've gone into game shops when I was about 15, 16, and I got 18 games. But I suspect the employees in the shops don't give a shit. So I think
they're not paid enough to.
Yeah, that's one of those ideas that's good in theory, the whole don't sell it to under 21s, but in practice it's going to be hideously ineffective. And parents are still going to be complaining because they're like, oh my god, my child's gambling on this. It's like, well, you let him buy it. It's like when people,
Exactly.
Call of Duty's poisoning our children. Yeah, the game's rated for 16 and up, not your little 10-year-old Jimmy.
Yeah, not your little squeaker there.
No, not supposed to be playing that. Just stop. So...
When video games, they're not really looked at the way cigarettes and alcohol are looked at, so I don't see that being an effective system at all.
No, probably not. Its heart is in the right place, but it might not work. I think the first set of bills to force them to label the games with loot boxes and their drop rates probably going to be more effective, because even a pretty shit parent will look at that and they'll go, oh wait, this has got not actual gambling, fake gambling in it, and be like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that then. Maybe I don't want to buy little Jimmy this game and have him spend all of my disposable income on fake video game shit.
I'm just going through my head right now to try and think of, is there ever really been an decent or okay loot box?
Dragon Ball Fighter Z, because it's free.
Aside from that, is there any good one that
any good paid loot box system?
And only I can't think of any.
If there is one, it's got to be in a free game. Because a lot of people defend Overwatches, and I don't like Overwatches at all.
No, I like the game. But,
I like Overwatch the game. It's a good game. I don't like the loot box system, mostly because its probability rates are so utterly broken.
I think it would be a little more forgivable for a loot box system if games cheaper, like $20 for a game, and then you have a loot box system. I can see that being justified.
Maybe
$20 for a triple title, and you got the loot boxes. Yeah, okay, that's how they're making back their money for better content. That's more excusable in my mind.
Well,
I'd even excuse Deep Pursuit for that matter if the price of the game was lower. But the fact is, these games are $70, $80.
Yeah, I think there was Jim Sterling's latest Jimquisition, if you watch those, suggested the idea of AAA games being free, because the AAA publishers are now bragging about how the microtransactions or whatever are bringing in more money than sales of the game. And so his idea was, well, if this is making so much money for you, make the games free, and then a lot of the people who may have a problem with these loot box systems and the greed that you've put in this game might have less of a problem because you're not charging up front and then expecting more money.
Yes. See, I see an issue with that there, making the games free and relying on the loot box. I could see publishers giving less of a shit about single-player games.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely. But the problem is, I don't think the AAA industry cares much about single-player games as it is anyway, with a few exceptions.
Yeah. The esports is really things are going now.
Yeah, it's esports and sandboxes, and with a few exceptions, sandbox games are not the most imaginative of single-player games when it comes to actual content.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Especially in recent times. Some people are going to disagree with me on that, and you're welcome to disagree with me on that, but I don't think that the modern sandbox game is a rich experience. They're all very shallow, big maps for no reason.
For you. Kind of back to my previous statement about having that kind of subscription for multiplayer, but what if the multiplayer version of a game was a separate game? So you had your base game, you pay for it, and you $60, $70, $80, whatever, and it's a specific team that has their heart and soul set on creating a story. They find these specific people, make the game, they make it good, and then they release a second copy that's a different team that's working on the same game, but just the multiplayer aspect of it.
Yes, and they're using the same engine and models and whatever else, but doing the online multiplayer bit.
Separate.
Yeah, I could see that. That would probably end up pleasing quite a lot of markets at once.
Because then the people who are set on, the only reason why I say this is because looking at Bethesda, they've got their studios. They love making single player great stories, and I can't think of a Bethesda game that didn't have a decent story. Like they were all amazing in my mind, with the exceptions of maybe Fallout 3. I didn't really like the story, but arguably it was one of the best games ever. And their story there's so much content there for story. There's so much that's bringing you back to play the story again. Like Wolfenstein, you know the story, you know how it goes after the first playthrough, but you're going to go back for more because it was entertaining. It's like watching a movie a second time. If you love it, you're going to go back for more. If you paid full price for that game and you love it, then that studio's happy. They've made their cash. They can play games. Whereas the multiplayer aspect of it, they'd make their multiplayer version of that game with their loot boxes, however they want to make it. And the people who love the multiplayer there, they would go there. There's a market in both sections, and all you would be doing is making another community. There'd be a single player community, and there'd be a multiplayer community.
I can definitely see that working. That's a good idea. It's a shame that the games industry won't listen, because it's the games industry.
Yeah, absolutely. But even with that idea, even if they went forward with something like that, the loot box system is still something that needs to be looked at and refined.
Definitely. Looked at, refined, maybe legally, legislated, because, there's always some publishers, mostly the AAA ones, that are just going to take the piss, which they are. And this is why it's come to this, I'm afraid. Sorry to break it to everyone. But, it's the greed of the AAA publishers has led us to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, on that depressing note, then, let's move on to the final little story we're going to talk about.
Quite an interesting one this time.
An interesting little one, yeah. This is it's not something we traditionally talk about on the newscast, but it was put forward to me, so I thought we'd talk about it. What looks like a total conversion mod for Command & Conquer 3 has been updated very sort of heavily. This total conversion mod is called Evolutions, and it's a Halo-themed total conversion mod for Command & Conquer. They've had a really huge update in this. Like, this is why we're talking about it.
That to me, being a huge Halo fan and absolutely loving the story of Halo 2 and just craving more, this really appeals to me. I've been a Halo fan since the beginning, so I've played Command & Conquer 3, and I got to be honest, it's not a game for me. But now having a Halo story, a Halo mod with Halo vehicles and enemies, that pulls me in.
Yeah, I definitely understand it. I'm not a Halo person myself. It's never really grabbed me. But, good lord, this is a mod that has had so much work put into it. It's quite amazing to look at. The update includes, well, for one thing, it includes voice acting, which is just amazing. They've not got together all of the voice acting yet. They're still hiring some people by the seams of it. Yep, they are. But they're going to be adding voice acting to this mod. And, you know, there's never a huge amount of dialogue in RTS games. It tends to be a lot of situational dialogue. Like, I don't think there's a full campaign to this. Well, there might be, but not that I'm aware of.
It says the 440 is a specially made campaign.
Oh, okay, it's actually a specially made campaign. Okay, wow, okay. Holy shit, there's so much work going into this. Yeah, a properly made story, and they're adding... Yeah, they're adding voice acting, they're adding so many new units that look amazing for what they are.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if it has anything more on the campaign, maybe length or levels or what. It doesn't really look like it. This looks like a very early Insight article.
It looks like they're sort of this is early stages of this update, but they are, after a few rendered sketches, they're implementing the Flood into this mod, which, for those of you who don't know, are a particular Halo antagonist, which is just... I just look at this mod. I love the modding scene, and this really impresses me. Because...
Yeah, I'm looking at models now and comparing them to Halo Wars 2's models and all that. I can see this project as a labor of love. These people are a fan of Halo, whoever's making it.
Oh, definitely. Of course, this isn't going to be as visually amazing as Halo Wars 2, because Command & Conquer 3 is a very old game. But
yes,
to see the amount of work that has gone into this, the amount of detail that's gone into some of these models, they are the spitting image of their Halo counterparts, what they're trying to make. They're doing such a good job on this, and I just want to applaud them. Even though I'm not a massive Halo fan, I want to applaud them for this work, because that is amazing.
If you actually zoom in on the bottom two pictures there of the article, even on Command & Conquer 3's engine, it looks good.
For Command & Conquer 3, this game does not look bad at all. I'll give them that. Well done, whoever these people are. They are called...
I'm trying to find the name.
363 Productions. Haha, I get it.
Ah, clever.
343, but plus 20, whatever. That's really, really cool. For Command & Conquer 3 visuals, that's amazing. So, yeah, I'll give you a round of applause there. Well done, 363. You've done an amazing job of that. You know, just the mod community in general is amazing. So, you know, always.
Yeah, have you heard of the strictly multiplayer Halo game coming out for PC people only?
No.
It's Installation 01. You should check that out. It's fan made, and like, wow, things that they are doing. They are true fans of the original trilogy. They're making a multiplayer game that is similar to Halo 3's playstyle.
Oh, okay. Wow, this actually looks incredibly professional.
Yes.
That's a really professional-looking product here. Wow. Okay.
They've got death animations, everything you could imagine. They've done it. They've all done it, and these people, they look like kids, like students.
These people astound me. Modders astound me. I don't have the creative knack for this. I can just about make a nice looking park in in Planet Coaster, something like that. That's about all I can do. Oh,
gushing a little more about Halo, there's a couple of mods out there that are coming through. Like Installation 01 is definitely one to do some research on. Also, Project Contingency looks breathtaking. That's another mod. I think it's a multiplayer only as well, made by a different team. But if you look at the renders on that, like, wow, that looks AAA today. That's what it looks like.
Oh, cool.
And for any of those listeners out there who actually own the original Halo on PC, should really look into the SPV3 mod, which adds multiple levels and features to the campaign, as well as a graphical update.
Well, there you go. We've had a recommendation. And I think, on that note, we shall go towards the last section of the show. So that brings us to the end of another GameCast Newscast. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, a share, a follow, because this will be on Twitch. And join our Discord if you fancy just some chat with us, or if you fancy becoming a member of GameCast. We're always looking for people. Got a nice little tab full of listings of who we're looking for. Like to thank my very short notice guest. Thank you very much for coming on.
Absolutely, no problem. This is the first time I've actually been on the channel, and it's great to be a part of the team.
Good. I'm glad you like it. Yes, this literally very short notice. I found out that Max couldn't do it, so kindly stepped up at the 11th hour to join in. So, you know, that's a good way to ingratiate yourself into us. Anyway,
what better way than improv?
Exactly. So, anyway, stay tuned to GameCast for news, reviews, Let's Plays, podcasts, lots of lovely things. If you're watching on the Twitch stream, keep going for the rest of the broadcast if we're on that section. Otherwise, we will see you next time for more news-based rambling.